Very good afternoon to everybody, and welcome to the AMA session for the India Pharma Awards 2024. I am Pragya Srivastava from Ernst Young, and we are the process advisors for the awards. And today's session will include giving you an overview and perspective on what we have for the awards this year in terms of categories, in terms of the process, eligibility criterias, and giving you a direction in which you will be able to understand the entire ecosystem of the awards better. And then at the end, we can open up the uh, forum for Q&A. While I'm presenting, in case if there is any questions you may have, you can just put it on the chat box and we'll be taking it up at the end of the session. Okay. We've just put a short presentation and I'm going to share my screen. Hope the screen is visible. Um, I'm sure everybody who's on the call is well aware about how established the India Pharma Awards is. This is one of the IPs and like almost a decade old, and um, the whole purpose of the awards is to recognize and felicitate the great innovation that is happening in the pharmaceutical industry. When we have tried to put the categories together, we have try to ensure that all the aspects of the ecosystem is covered, such that the essence of the awards, which is recognizing the core of the pharmaceutical industry, has been taken care of through the categories and processes that we have put together. So, without further ado, I will just take you through the categories in detail. So, we have 15 categories this year. For few of them, there are subcategories which I will take you through. Largely, what we've done is we've studied the trend of the entries coming in the last so many years. So the categories which have done well have been kept with minor tweaks. And we also have added certain new categories, like I mentioned, to cover the ecosystem. And we had a very exhaustive advisory session with a lot of prominent members who have given us inputs in putting this category together. So we'll just discuss each of them. And along with the categories, I will also talk about the evaluation parameters that needs to be kept in mind while you fill the application form, because these will be used by the jury members for doing their evaluation at the screening level as well as the final level. So once you have an idea on what the parameters are, answering the questions becomes easier, right? So I'll also touch upon that when I talk about each of the categories. So the first category is the Pharma Innovation of the Year. So for and this particular awards has been there since many years. We have also seen the progress and the kind of initiatives we have received in this category. So, to make it better, we have also added subcategories to this, such that the comparison between the projects and the products and the services um, is done at a correct level, right? So, for which we have two subcategories this year, one for the products and one for the services. And with respect to the awards, as the name suggests, innovation is something that we will be looking for. So, something which already existed, what has been the change made in the past 2 years? And also, if something is completely new, then we would want to understand that what has been the situation or the challenge because of which this particular innovation has been implemented, right? It is very important that any initiative, product, services that you're applying for this category should be in link with what is the problem statement they are trying to solve. So, the application form that you will be filling for this category will articulate these questions in a better manner. But, you know, especially the challenges and the problem statement that you have faced, the innovation followed by what has been the impact of this, on the stakeholders, overall on the industry. Very importantly, if it is a product and service, how well it has been marketed, as well as what is the cost effectiveness of a product. We should not be adding awards cat awards product or services into this category which may have just been launched but it's not innovative, right? So it's important that for this category, when you recommend and you add any particular application, keep in mind that innovation is something which will hold the most value, and the market effectiveness of that particular product. So in terms of impact, in terms of cost effectiveness, and how scalable it is in the future for the industry. So that is something which needs to be taken care of. The next category is excellence in patient support program and market access. What this category means is that as a pharma company, there are various patient care awareness activities which are done in order to, not only with the common, um, you know, comprehensive diseases or challenges that exist, but also in terms of overall health and well-being of the people. So this category revolves around what is that sort of initiative that the company or the organization has taken to enhance patient care, patient awareness through various programs. And the initiative for this particular category will again revolve around what was the program designed, and how is it something which is different from the other players that they are offering in terms of educating the customers. Also, very important is the measurable outcome. So, here, because if this is a marketing and training activity, there will be a pre and post survey that would be taken. So, when you are submitting the application form, these kind of supporting documents can be provided. That the understanding level of the particular audience that you were conducting this activity was X. But after the training, after the awareness activity, which would have taken place for a month or so, or maybe for a year, this has the change that we have seen in that audience. So it will give a perspective to the jury members to assess that what was there earlier, and then after this activity, what was done, and how did it benefit the patients. So this is something which is very important for you to articulate when you are writing the case study for this particular category. Moving forward, excellence in ancillary pharma services. So, ancillary services are an important aspect of the pharma industry, like all of you on the call would agree. So, like I said, the whole objective of this awards is to not only recognize pharmaceutical companies, but also felicitate the important players who are and are used by the pharmaceutical companies for delivering a better product or service to the customers. So, ancillary services or partners are again playing a very important role in this activity, in the offerings that the pharmaceutical companies provide. So, here we will be having three subcategories: supply chain logistic, packaging, and others is something, why the reason why we have kept others is something which does not fall into the top two. And there are several of um, activities for which ancillary services are being used by the pharmaceutical companies. So, which is why we didn't want to miss out on those entries as well. Um, Hence, we have others category for those, but supply chain, logistic, and packaging are standalone subcategories. And with respect to the parameters, again, very important is what how are they ensuring that as an extended part of the organization, the quality standards that they're maintaining in terms of client satisfaction, customer satisfaction, what is that they are offering as compared to the other competition, and what has been the impact of that particular initiative or offering that they're making on the end consumer or the overall industry as a whole. The fourth category, which is excellence in export promotion, this again becomes a very important aspect for any pharmaceutical company. So here in this category, we are recognizing companies that have significantly contributed to the promotion and growth of exports. And how have they actually used this particular export market in expansion, in increasing the business size, maybe adding more products. So what are the different type of innovations they have explored in terms of the export strategy? What has been the impact of that on the industry overall, their strategies? How are they also ensuring that the international standards and compliances are taken care of, right? Because anything, if it goes from India, there are certain standards that needs to be maintained. So while you apply for this category, do ensure that in terms of documentation and certification, you are sharing those information with us, that these were the standards that were followed, and there will be an acknowledgement certification that you might have received. So do attach that. It will also give a good perspective to the jury members that these were the things that you were following while um, uh, commencing or implementing this particular initiative. The fifth category, which is excellence in Make in India. While we had introduced this category a few years back, what we have done this year is we have kept this particular category specifically for contract manufacturers and contract development manufacturers. So these also play a very important role in the pharmaceutical industry. So to understand their contribution on how are they helping in uh, you know providing services to the pharmaceutical industry, and what are the different developments, excellence activities that they have created using the Make in India concept. So, with respect to job employment or different type of technologies that they have used, how are they using um, the resources that India is providing in order to support the pharmaceutical companies. So this is the tweak that we have made this year, and I'm hoping that we will be receiving some good quality nominations in this category. Sixth, again, being the most important one, excellence in quality, safety standards. All these are extremely important in the pharmaceutical industry, and we had this category in the past as well, and we want to continue with this. The only suggestion that I would have is, in if you're applying for this categories, do ensure that you submit the necessary certification compliance documents, because if there are any such information that is provided in the application form, and if we do not have supporting documents to justify, then the entry may score a lower mark by the screening or the grand jury members, right? So it is absolutely critical, especially for this category, while you write the application form, do mention the product that you're talking about, what are the standards, compliances that you have in place, and respectively attach the supporting documents in the section provided, so that your application form becomes completely complete, and then it will be good for the further evaluation of the jury members. With respect to the new use of new age technology category, technology is something that everybody is talking about. And again, as a continuation of this category, what we had last year, we have just made this more detailed in terms of the type of technology, right? Earlier, when we had introduced this category, it was more to do with the regular basic technology that you may use. But we know these days that everything is about AI, ML, different type of robotics. There are multiple new age technology solutions that exist, and everybody is using it. So we want to understand that at a pharmaceutical company level, how is that you are um, improvising your current processes, improvising your products, improvising your um, supply chain, logistic, any part of the organization with respect to the use of the new age technology. So while you talk about the initiative, do bring out the innovative aspect of what has been done. How has that particular innovation being implemented within the organization? Of course, if there are any quality and compliance standards that you would want to highlight in case if it's a product innovation aspect where you're using technology. And in terms of scalability and adaptability, how has uh, your employees within the organization as well as the overall industry accepted this particular innovation, and what is the future potential of this, then replicating it across, say, multiple plant location of yours, or if it's an MSME, then MNC, then accordingly how do you implement this to other locations of your organization. So that becomes extremely critical while you answer the application form for this particular category. Next category, again, excellence in R&D. This also stands an important, extremely important category for the India Pharma Awards. This year we have two subcategories. One is the contract research, if you're outsourcing it to the contract research firms for conducting the activities, and also in case if you have a in-house research R&D center, right? A lot of organizations have started doing this internally. What we will assess in this category is that something um, which is a problem statement that you are trying to solve, and what has been the initiative taken with respect to the R&D. It is important that whatever initiative you submit for this category is something where the research has been completed to a large extent and not in progress, right? Because when we would want to understand the impact of that particular research on the industry or on the stakeholders, is it is important that the study is completed. If not completed, at least majority part of the study, which is 50% and more, is completed, so that there is enough impact of that research to be shown in the application form and also along with the supporting documents. So while you select the initiative for this category, do keep this in mind. There's something which is ongoing or has just started and has and does not have any impact in the period that we have defined for the awards, it will not be a relevant entry for this category. So while I take you through the eligibility criteria, we have specified a period in which all the entries initiatives should be submitted. So do keep in mind that while selecting the initiative for all the categories, but especially the R&D category, right? Then the next one is excellence in sustainability. Environment friendliness, sustainability is something that every organization, not only pharma, but every organization is extremely focusing on. So here, with respect to the pharmaceutical companies, we want to understand that different type of initiatives that they are taking at their level in order to contribute to the CSR, and what are the different standards and sustainability compliances that they have in place, how are they actually reducing the carbon footprint. That becomes extremely important. Giving you just an insight, while we were discussing this with the advisory also, while we were putting these categories together, carbon footprint reduction is something which has been made mandatory at the global level, and a lot of companies within India also are focusing on carbon footprint reduction, or at least reducing it to a substantial number year on year. So this was an insight which was given, and we thought, why not have it as a parameter for our evaluation. So while you talk about the initiative in the application form, do bring this out, that what was it earlier, say in the last year, and after implementing this initiative, this is the percentage of reduction that you have brought with respect to sustainability, whether it is paper reduction or using sustainable materials in your production, or how are you ensuring that your supply chain and logistics is taken care of, and goods are not damaged. So there are a lot of ways in which I'm sure the companies are coming up with a lot of innovative techniques. So while bringing this up in the application form, do highlight that what is the sort of reduction that you are getting into. With respect to excellence in brand management, this is more from how the organizations are um, ensuring that whether the organization themselves as a brand or any product that they must have incorporated or launched in the last 1 year or 2 year would be um, used or taken into account by the ecosystem, and how is that the organization have made a brand around that particular product. Now what happens is, we had marketing initiative categories in the past, and there were several of them. We have just merged all of them into one. So this category is purely around how are you managing your existing campaigns, existing products, existing brands. Now, the brand in this case can be the organization themselves. If there is a change in, um, the logo, if there is a change in a product packaging, or if there is change in a component, how is that you are ensuring that the entire brand management campaign is being released, and what are the sort of different mediums that have been used in order to communicate this in the market. So whether you're doing it for a new product, whether you're doing it for an existing product, and others, like I said, if it is from an organizational level, not specifically for a product or a service, then others is the category which you can select. And in terms of the parameters, brand awareness, engagement, extremely important on what the objective is, that is, which is communicated. And based on the objective, whatever marketing initiative was taken into account, what is the effectiveness of that campaign? Again, pre and post is something that we will be looking at, that what existed earlier, and after the campaign, what has been the results, the overall impact, and how has the stakeholder value of the entire brand increased after this entire activity. Then coming to the next category, which is Pharma Startup of the Year. Again, a very innovative and upcoming sort of a category which we thought we must have. So any startup organizations that y'all are working with, all the people who are on the call, since pharma companies work very closely with startups, so we thought this will be a good addition to our awards this year as well. From a eligibility point of view, we'll talk about this in detail, but we are going as per the government standard definition of what a startup is, but pertaining specifically to the pharma industry. And with respect to the evaluation parameters, again, why is it standing out as compared to the others within the startup community? What is the growth plan? How do you see that this particular organization or this particular concept that the startup has brought into play has the potential to scale and being replicated in the market, and what is the overall business model and strategy? So do encourage any startups that you are aware about, who focuses on different aspects of the pharma industry, to apply for this category. Now, from an overall organization point of view, the ones that we spoke about earlier were very specific initiative driven or product driven categories. The 12th category, which is the pharma company of the year, this is evaluation of the overall organization. So the ones which we saw earlier was specific to an initiative, but this is where the jury will be evaluating the entire organization on what they have done in the last 2 years. So in the parameters also if you see, there are various aspects. So here there will be, while you fill the application form, it's important that you first select the correct subcategory based on the turnover, such that we understand that there are very different players and each one of them have a very different revenue structure. So we didn't wanted the smaller players to then compete with the larger players. Keeping that in mind, we have kept two subcategories, which is turnover with less than 2,000 crores and more than 2,000 crores. And this is as on your last financial year turnover. So we will be asking for specific declarations around this as well. But in terms of filling the application form, do bring out the different innovative initiatives that you would have taken as an organization in the last 2 years. What has been the R&D initiatives in terms of CSR? What is that you have contributed to the industry? I mean, initiative around products, R&D, services, etc. is one place, but in terms of environment, what is that you have contributed? So, in while you fill the application form, um, we would want you to keep that in mind, that this is judging the entire organization and not a particular initiative. So keep that in mind while filling the application form, that you give the jury members a holistic perspective on what the company is doing with respect to all the questions that we have asked in the application form, such that this then gets differentiated from the other categories that we have, which are more initiative driven. So here you will be talking about the different plans that the organization has in terms of the growth strategy, in terms of how are they trying to create an impact in the industry from a global presence perspective. If there's something that they want to do in the future, or something they are doing which is working well for them, these are the sort of information it will help if you add this in the application form for a jury evaluation standpoint. Coming to our last set of categories, excellence in biotech innovation. Again, biotech and biopharma being an important aspect in the pharmaceutical industry, we have a category specifically for those organizations. And what are the kind of critical challenges they are facing, and what sort of innovative initiatives they have come up with. So again, our parameters are around this, that type of innovation they have come with, and based on the innovation, again, very important thing which I spoke about earlier, as to what is the problem statement that they are trying to solve, and what is the challenges that they're trying to solve. So that is something very critical before you talk about the innovation. And what are the type of different research that was taken into place before really coming up with this initiative or innovation. Then, in terms of the impact and applicability of that particular initiative on the organization, and if there were any collaborations, any partnership done with any other, within the organization's R&D team, or anything else, if that's applicable. But most importantly, the problem statement: what was the final innovation research done for the execution, how was the execution done, and the impact of that on the organization. The second last category is excellence in API manufacturing. So again, APIs are something which is an important component, important aspect in the pharma industry, right? So how are they ensuring that the final product, or the components which are used for development of a product, is of a good quality? What are the checks that they have in place? How are they assisting in the final composition of a particular product? And also the initiative and processes that they have in place, what has been the impact of that particular initiative, and how are they sort of trying to focus on sustainability. So that also becomes an important aspect. API is again a new category that we have added this year. It was there in the past, but we have made certain changes with respect to the definition, and we are hoping to get more entries, good quality entries in this edition. And last but not the least, overall, this year, like what we have spoken about, it is more focused on the pharmaceutical companies. But what we have also received a recommendation by our advisory this year is, why not include academic institutions that are contributing to the research papers around the pharmaceutical industry on different products development, or different things that can be done. So along with the pharmaceutical companies, and the other partners that we spoke about, which the team will be focusing on. This year, we are also adding a new category on academic institutes, on how have they contributed to the pharmaceutical industry. So, in case if there are any collaborations that you all would have with these institutes, it's a good opportunity for them to participate, and each one of you can help us in spreading the word, so that we get relevant and important relevant applications in this category. And in terms of parameters, largely what we're looking at is, again, what was the research done by them, what has been the contribution, how practical is the suggestion or innovative research that they are contributing to, and what has been the impact of the same on the industry. This is again something which needs to be completed, similar to what we spoke for R&D, and it needs to be implemented as well, such that the impact assessment can be done. So yeah, these were the 15 categories that we have for this edition. Coming to the eligibility criteria, it's we have not kept it very simple, like our previous editions. With respect to the entities or organizations participating, should have minimum 1 year of existing presence in India, and as on March 31st, 24. And with respect to the initiative that I spoke about, wherever it's an initiative based category, it's important that the initiative product, technology, or any sort of innovation that the organizations are going to be applying for should fall between April 1, 2022 to March 31st, 24. If the innovation already existed, then what is the sort of impact that the innovation has created in the last 2 years is something which we would want you to mention in the application form. So, implementation and the impact of a new technology, new innovation, or something which existed is important to be articulated in the application form. With respect to the startup awards, like I mentioned, it's going to be as per the Government of India definition, where the turnover does not exceed more than 100 crores, and the organization should be less than 10 years of incorporation as on March 31st, 24. With respect to our process, we have three-step evaluation before we determine the winners for each of the categories. So, since the call for entry is already announced, EY team has already started checking the entries that come on a regular basis, and if there are any missing information, any additional documentation that we may require, the Informa team or the EY team will be reaching out to you for sharing those informations and relevant documents. Post this review, a set of screening jury members will be going through the qualified entries. So they will be evaluating you on the basis of the information mentioned in the application form along with the collaterals. After this evaluation is completed, based on their scores, we will have a top three finalist or a top five finalists, depending on the quality of entry. We will be inviting them for virtual or a physical presentation to the grand jury members, followed by a Q&A. So they will have an opportunity to interact with the jury members, and there will be a Q&A session. And based on the interaction and the discussion jury members will have, there will be winners determined across each of the categories. And in case if the jury members feel that, maybe the quality of the entries is not up to the mark, they may choose not to give a winner in a specific categories. And on the other hand, if they feel that two entries are standing out, so they may also decide to give two winners in that instead of one, or a winner or another. Completely depends on the quality. But what I'm trying to articulate through this is it's extremely important that you fill the application form correctly with all the information and the supporting documentation at the first go. Because if those information and documentation is not provided, then the application form will not really go ahead from the screening to the final round. So do keep that in mind while filling the application. So from a process standpoint of view, this is what we had in terms of the entire awards, talking about the categories, the processes, etc. Now, if there are any questions anybody has on the call, happy to answer. The last date for receiving the entries is 31st October. So we are hoping to be receiving the entries from your end for each of the categories. And we have also shared the details of the email ID and contact number in case if you are stuck somewhere, if there is any technical issues that you're facing, you can write to us and we'll be happy to resolve or help you in resolving whatever queries you may have.
Yeah, Pragya. Hi, Ganesh this
Hi,
side.
Ganesh. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you are doing work just like in a project, in a raw market or in just like in a organic way, then there is a statement mentioned that compliance certification and documentation to be required. Then if we didn't get any compliance certification from any authority or any liable organizations, then how we can present that? The documentation that we have, we will present that. But what
Hmm.
about the compliance certification and all?
So if see now again it depends on the category. If that cat in case if for example if it's a quality category, uh, just
Okay.
taking that for example, in the quality category it is essential to have the certification in place such that it actually shows that before the product has gone into the market, this is the quality check that you have performed. So there it is mandatory to submit. However, if you look at a sustainability category or a tech based category, for example, you can provide supporting documents that you may have in case if you do not have any specific compliance related certificate. And if that category does not demand it, we will take your entry ahead. And if it demands, then we will reach out to you saying that this is what we have. And basis the initiative you submit, we can take this forward accordingly.
Okay, okay, no worries. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Priyank, this is Vijay.
Hi, yes, Vijay.
Yeah, yeah. In excellence in ancillaries, what supporting document we have to provide? So, in case of for in case we are proposing to packaging or a supply chain,
Hmm.
so what kind of document we need to provide in that we need to attach?
So if there is any SOP that you have created on how the process really works, if there is any appreciation letter you might have from the client, or whoever your partners are, that with whatever you have in place, this is something this is really working for you. So these are the kind of things you can submit, along with if there is any awards achievement that as an organization you would have received for your services. That is also something you
Generally,
can provide.
generally customer will not provide any something. So in that mail only we will have some appreciation kind of mail.
Yes.
Okay. So is that I think mail should be should update upload into the folder.
Yes, absolutely. You can create it, convert it into a PDF and upload it on the portal. There is a provision to upload the attachment in a
And
PDF
my
format.
another question is in case of quality we are nominating in quality what kind of document supporting document we need to provide?
So, like I said, in case if there is any certification that you have for any product which has already gone in the market, there will be some sort of internal quality team report that would have released. And also, in case if you have gotten an external agency or any partners to evaluate that for you, there will be some sort of approval letter or some documentation that they would have provided saying that these were the testing procedures that we have followed and these were the results. So, those kind of documentation you can provide.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi Pragya, Sabri this side.
Hi.
So, there are two questions I have. The first one is related to the ancillary pharma service nomination category.
Okay.
So there was you said no in your PPT you said there is a third category which falls under others, like service company can apply on those with that subcategory.
Hmm.
My question is related to the third question on the nomination form. So the
Hmm.
third question was literally specific to supply chain. If you
Hmm.
want, I can read out the question again for you.
Hmm.
So it talks about how the service have improved the efficiency and reliability of
Hmm.
the pharmaceutical supply chain in India. So this
Hmm.
is related to supply chain, but we are planning to nominate ours in the others category, which is not related to supply chain. So
Hmm.
how we need to answer that question?
So, what I suggest is that while you talk about the initiative, so there is a section in the application form where you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the initiative, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
do mention the kind of initiative you're applying for. And basis that when you answer the question, we'll understand that it is not supply chain and logistics. See, because we have not created customized forms for others for packaging as well, because it will become very cumbersome for the participants. We have created a separate application. But basis the category selection and the initiative details that you provide, the other questions will then be evaluated accordingly from our end.
Thanks. So my another question is related to the financial information. So
Hmm.
there are a few questions where it asks about our financial client or financial details about the project and initiatives where we
Hmm. Hmm.
couldn't provide that we are not allowed to provide those details with other people. I mean like a public form or other thing.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what should I do those in those areas?
So see, wherever there is a range that you need to select, you can. I'm guessing that should not be a problem. Wherever it's a open-ended text, you can mention that confidential and cannot be shared. In case if the jury would, in case if the jury would want to know that specific details, we will write to you, and maybe we can arrange a call where you can explain this if you cannot share a written documentation with us. We'll take that call. But for now, for you to submit the application form, you can mention that it is confidential. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, Pragya. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Any other questions anybody has? Okay, great. I think before we wrap up for the session, I just want to reiterate 31st October is the last date for submitting the nominations. So we will be hoping to receive your nominations by then. And in case of any questions or clarifications, please write to us. You have our email ID. You also have the details mentioned onto the website. And hoping to receive your nominations. Maybe everybody can just switch on their camera if possible. We'll just take a quick picture for the website and social media account, if that's okay with everybody. Whoever can switch on the camera. Everybody can give us a nice smile. I will hoping that I've given a good session and you all have understood, and we'll be receiving entries from everybody. Thank you so much once again for removing time, and do share in your nominations before the due date. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Pragya.